All right,
Okay.
Troy.
Yep.
I think it's working.
You-
We don't have any Marc this week, so I have to put my eyeball right up. I'm pretty sure that's how you start it. You need to do that. Oh wait, damn it, I'm screwing it up. Oh wait. All right, so now I've got input. All right, Troy. I've got my eyeball up to here. I'm back. We're back.
Do you know what you're doing there, Kevin?
We've got no Marc this week, so I don't know. We need Marc.
Well, we can't
Which
have
eye
it.
do I put up here to authenticate?
Hey, right now, Marc is out doing the things that philanthropist billionaire playboys do. He's buying things that aren't for sale and dating supermodels and racing cars and, that sort of thing.
That's every week. So why? But not on Tuesdays. It's Tuesday, Marc. Where are you, Marc?
Yeah, well,
we miss you, but we can handle this. I think
next week
I've
I'm
got
going
a
to be
red
all
dot
by
there.
myself because Kevin's going to be out doing the
I've
exact
got a
same
red
thing.
dot over there. I am not the millionaire philanthropist that our own Marc Lutz is.
Well,
I'm a normal human.
Your philanthropy is kind of lackluster.
My philanthropy is buying comics from Troy, keeping him employed.
Yeah.
Some weeks it feels like that. I'm just like, oh my gosh, how much stuff am I buying? But you know what? There's so many good comics out right now. Troy, we should start talking about comics.
Well, we really should. Welcome back to Flashback Comics, everybody. Here we are. It is actually the 31st of March, but tomorrow, New Release Wednesday, is the 1st of April. No April fooling there. Really, new comics will be out on the 1st of April.
Yeah.
So, with me is Kevin Gaussoin, my co-host of ComicsOnline.com for everything geek pop culture. And if this is the first time you've heard of ComicsOnline.com,
You're welcome.
Okay, so like Kevin said, there are a lot of good comics coming out, and tonight we're going to spotlight a few of the things coming out for New Release Wednesday, April 1st, 2015.
Yeah.
So
We've got our top 5. So
we have our top 5.
You want me to I'll just put your top 5 up, and then we'll move on to mine?
We could certainly do that. I'm
Let's
just going
do
to
that.
ship that pile over that way.
I like to start with yours because you tend to have, just different stuff than me, frankly. Oh,
I read a lot of things.
This number 0. Do you want to start with number 0?
Let's start with the number 0, ladies and gentlemen.
In the computing world, you see, being an IT guy, sort of, I play one on 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. You start with 0, and let's start with 0.
Let's start with 0. So, Convergence number 0, ladies and gentlemen. This is it. This is DC's big game-changing event. This is the thing happening. These are the changes upcoming to the multiverse. And after Convergence 0, we're going to start seeing the regular issues of Convergence, and we're going to see characters and storylines from before the New 52 began. Longtime readers like myself are going to be excited about the return of Wally West, the return of Donna Troy. New readers are going to see characters and continuities that they are much less familiar with. If you've been all into the New 52, and really there's no reason not to be, then you've seen the Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo Batman. You've been treated to writers like Grant Morrison and Greg Pak and Superman and Action Comics. You've seen all sorts of amazing things, all sorts of high-class talent. Well, now we're going to bring back some earlier talent, and we're going to bring back some earlier characters, some earlier looks for characters, some classic costumes, classic situations, all converging upon each other. Some of these are unfolding from the events that have occurred in previous issues of books like Future's End and World's End. In any event, this is where you get started. Convergence issue 0. Brainiac, Superman. Really, everything begins with Superman. Action Comics number 1, 1938. The DC Universe truly begins with Superman there. Brainiac is, in my personal opinion, one of the great villains for Superman who hasn't always been used to his maximum effect. He is a robotic menace of galaxy-shaking proportions. And I think we're going to get into a little bit of a spoiler here. Part of what's happening here is that Brainiac has actually moved on from bottling cities to bottling realities. And that's what we're going to start seeing is some of these multiple realities bottled off and events are going to spill out of them. That's all the spoiler you're getting from me. You're going to have to come pick this book up.
What we're seeing on the cover here is multiple Brainiacs. And there's
many different versions of Brainiac.
There's an alternate cover, I believe, with multiple Supermen. So, yeah, if you like lots of Supermen and lots of Brainiacs.
Right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm personally more a fan of Brainiac 5 because I'm a heroes guy.
Well, I like Brainiac 5 and the Legion of Superheroes too, but I don't need Brainiac 5 to be a credible menace for Superman. No. I need Brainiac to be a credible menace for Superman.
True that.
So, Convergence 0, this is where it starts.
All right.
All right.
So, your number 2. Oh, look at that. I thought this was the back, but no, this is what is this taking out? Oh, I know what this is.
Yes, you see?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen.
300. Do you remember 300?
Yes.
This is Themyscira.
Wonder Woman, issue number 40. We are looking at the movie poster homage variant, paying homage to the film 300. Wonder Woman, how apropos is this? From the island of Themyscira with their Greco-Roman society, the leader of the Amazons. She's been the goddess of war. Yeah, Wonder Woman has been a really good book, and these days it's being handled by the team of Meredith Finch in the writing and David Finch in the art. And that's been an electrifying change. I was a fan of Brian Azzarello and Cliff Chiang, who preceded them, and I am a fan of the Finches. I feel like Meredith's writing is getting stronger as the book unfolds. David Finch's art is and always has been quite good. So pick this book up. Say, look at the interior there.
I almost want to read Wonder Woman now.
What do you mean, almost?
I kind of do, but Troy, I'm buying so many comics from you. You've got to tell me which ones to drop so I can start reading Wonder Woman.
Drop the bad ones.
Okay.
There we go. Of course, I don't actually suggest any bad comics to Kevin. And when you come in here to Flashback Comics, I'm not going to suggest any bad comics to you either.
It's the ones that I've chosen, because I've made some stinky choices. Troy pushes me onto some good stuff, but I'm like, no, but I want to... Eventually, this stinker is gonna shape up. And they don't, and Troy is right. I should have just bought the other one.
In terms of reading comic books, I am going to point you to the things that you're going to read, that are going to last, that are going to stick with you. I'm talking good stories, good art, characters that you can get invested in. And if you talk to me, I will listen and I will figure out what it is that you will like. And this is something that many of you will like.
Speaking of things that you will like, one of my very favorite Avengers stories forever was Avengers Forever. And here we have... at least an homage, if not an actual...
put that in their faces, ladies and
look at there. Ultron Forever.
Ultron Forever. I am excited about this in a huge way. We're all excited about the Avengers film, Avengers 2, Age of Ultron, and... in anticipation, in preparation, leading up to, Marvel has given us an Ultron-themed Avengers storyline. This is, in some ways, it takes my eyes away from the incursions that are leading us up to Secret Wars, but I love Ultron. I love seeing the Avengers fight Ultron. Now, this Avengers Forever will actually give us a sort of parallel universe Avengers. These will not be Thor, Captain America, Iron Man as you're used to seeing them. These are Avengers drawn from a parallel reality battling Ultron. Ultron, of course, is the robotic menace that he has always been. What is it with robotic menaces? Brainiac, Ultron? There's something about you know what it is? Technology terrifies me. That's what it is. Technology is a horrible, horrible thing. It spawns Brainiacs, it spawns Ultrons, Terminators, Demon Seeds. Even R2-D2 can't be trusted. Don't let the cute.
Then you have the Vision, as I'm showing.
You mean the same Vision who once co-opted all of the defense computers in the world at the same time?
I'm pretty sure that wasn't his fault. He didn't mean to.
Yeah. So anyway, Ultron Forever from the pages of the Avengers. You want to dive into this. This will also be out with me on Wednesday morning. What's my number 3 pick there, Kev?
Ooh, Galaxy
Or my number 4 pick.
Galaxy Quest, The Journey Continues, number 3.
Yes, IDW is giving us Galaxy Quest, The Journey Continues. If you were fans of the film with Tim Allen and Sigourney Weaver and Alan Rickman, etc., I strenuously recommend that you pick this comic up. I'm a big Galaxy Quest fan, and maybe I'll have to wait a very long time for a sequel movie, but between then and now, I can enjoy this sequel comic. It's well-drawn, well-written, it's quite snappy and funny. It delivers the Galaxy Quest vibe.
And this is actually coming out on April Fool's Day. If you said, "Oh, hey, guess what's coming out on April 1st? Galaxy Quest." You know, if this was the first issue rather than the third, obviously it's out already. You might say, "Oh, hey, are you really trying to trick me?" No, Galaxy Quest, it's out.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think I can hook you up with the first couple issues.
I'm gonna have to show them some interior art because this is kind of cool. I'm liking it. I can't remember what it reminds me of.
It reminds you of Galaxy Quest.
No, but I mean the artist.
Just turn the page around. They can't see.
I want to get a good one. All right.
There's a good one right there. Show them that. Show them that squishy, delicious goodness.
Yeah.
And, guy's got tentacles coming out of his mouth. So what exactly does that mean? It means that, It means you're going to have to read the story and see what this squishy, disgusting goodness is really all about.
Yeah.
Okay, so IDW's Galaxy Quest, issue number 3, and now we're on to my 5th pick. Dynamite Entertainment, whom I absolutely love. I love what Dynamite Entertainment does with classic superheroes. In the Blackcross themed series, this is turn it back around for a second, Kev. I just completely lost my thank you.
Number 2.
From the pages of Project Superpowers is what I'm trying to say. Blackcross issue number 2, Warren Ellis writing it. So Project Superpowers, long story slightly shorter, takes a lot of classic characters, some vintage World War II era characters, the Golden Age and the early Silver Age of comics, and it takes those classic characters and reintroduces them in a modern story context. They were trapped in an urn for quite some time. They were released from that urn back into the world, and they have had a series of adventures into earlier iterations. This iteration is darker and edgier than the previous 2. So, if you like the writing of Warren Ellis, who doesn't? I do. Kevin does too.
Oh, yeah.
Don't let him tell you otherwise. Kevin actually likes Warren Ellis very much. One of the 14 rooms in his house is actually a small shrine to Warren Ellis.
That would be weird. I don't love him that much, but I do appreciate his stuff.
Yes, he does.
Warren Ellis. What does he write? What's your favorite Warren Ellis work?
Oh, good Lord. There are so many. He was writing that Moon Knight arc very, very recently, and it sticks in my mind right now.
All right.
He was writing that Moon Knight arc, and I was loving it. And the transition from Warren Ellis to Brian Wood was a very smooth transition.
That's what people were saying.
And Cullen Bunn just took over Moon Knight. Now I know I'm talking about Moon Knight and not talking about Blackcross. But,
Right.
Cullen, I mean, look at that writing talent there, Kevin. Find me something wrong with this. Warren Ellis, Brian Wood, Cullen Bunn. Find me something wrong with that.
Nothing. I got nothing.
Okay, I'll take your money now.
And every week before and after now. So you seem to have some plus ones over here, Troy.
I do. I have some interesting things to talk to people about.
Oh, is this new?
Yes, it is new.
Do I need this?
You absolutely do.
I think I might need this.
This is the Avengers Rage of Ultron. The genocidal android Ultron, actually he should be considered a robot, not an android, had been shot into space, never to return, or so they thought. Now, years later, the homicidal artificial intelligence has found a new world to conquer, one with its own horrific legacy. To save the homeworld of Titan, Thanos' brother Star Fox must seek the aid of his former allies, but the Avengers he finds are radically different from those he once knew. Among them is Ultron's creator, Giant Man, and when Hank Pym confronts his now planet-sized son, the responsibilities of fatherhood have never loomed so large. Okay, thank you. I wonder if Rick Remender actually wrote that copy.
That's good copy, though. I like it. That's a good ad.
You know what else I like? I like Rick Remender.
Me too. I don't recognize the name of these artists. Jerome Pena, Pepe Larraz, and Marc Morales.
You don't recognize Marc Morales? Oh, geez. Yeah, you're not reading enough comics. You got to read more stuff.
I assume he's the colorist.
I believe so.
Yeah.
In any event,
But I like it. That's the important thing.
The Rage of Ultron will have more familiar Avengers than the Ultron Forever. So you'll see these characters, and they will be more familiar to you from the pages of the Avengers. This is actually an OGN, an original graphic novel. Not a trade paperback, not a reproduction, not a reprint of comics in any other format, but new story and new art. It comes sealed, shrink-wrapped, so I don't have an open copy to show you right now.
Not yet.
But I promise you, you're going to want to pick this up. It's going to be incredible.
There's people calling for it already.
I know, right? They're going crazy. The phones are blowing up.
So yeah, I kind of want $24.99 is cover price.
Hardcover.
It's a hardcover. So $24.99 is not something you would complain about. And then Troy, if people come into Flashback here and they open up a subscription, they can get this for how much off?
Actually, our 75%, our 25% discount applies to trade paperbacks, hardcovers, and graphic novels. So if you start up a subscription service here with us at Flashback, then
I'm just gonna put this in my box.
You'll now where do you think you're going there, young man?
How many do you have of these?
Well, I don't have 100 copies.
Okay.
I didn't actually do a census count.
I'm gonna need to buy one of those.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to just do an advance reorder and have more in stock. I suspect it'll go pretty quickly.
Luckily, with hardcover graphic novels, it's not a big deal to get a reprint or everything. Even if it does have a different cover, you're not worried about resale value.
Well, he's not. But
speaking for myself, I'm not worried when it comes to a hardcover. I'm not really worried about resale value. I mean, I want to keep it nice, but I'm not worried about. Oh no, I got the second printing because whatever.
Now, in the way of a +1, I got another +1 for you. It's actually a +2. It was right.
Right now. Oh, look at that.
Show that to people.
We were talking about. Oh yeah.
Yes, the
Marv
new Teen
Wolfman.
Titans. Marv Wolfman writes. George Perez does the art. So. In light of Convergence, which will be bringing back these earlier plot lines and earlier characters, Titans Forever is out, and I'm like, oh, you know what? You really need to check this out. The Volume 2, which I believe covers the second appearance of Deathstroke the Terminator from his earlier appearance in Volume 1 of the New Teen Titans. Also, the return of the Titans of Olympus, the Titans of Myth. Donna Troy, from her tangential relationship to Wonder Woman, had ties to the Titans, as we later learned. But at this time, she becomes embroiled in their return to the prime material plane, and she is seduced by Hyperion. And I can't say enough about this book. Marv Wolfman and George Perez collaborated on some very fine comic back in the early 80s. Many people said it was DC's effective answer to the X-Men. In some ways, I have to agree with that assessment. Yeah. It was a diverse cast. It was an interesting cast. The stories were compelling, and they moved from the cosmic to the very grounded. But Wolfman and Perez took the time to take each character and give them some depth, give them some characterization. New Teen Titans Volume 2, it will take you right back there. Come get this thing.
And so this is New Teen Titans number 9 through number 16 from July of 1981 through February of 1982.
Wow.
So that's when this was out, and that's when comics were really good.
You mean as opposed to right now when comics are really good?
Comics are really good again. But there have been a couple of gaps, folks. Let's not kid ourselves. There's been some gaps between now and then. But right now is great. And come on, the early 80s, really probably the whole 80s. I love the 80s.
I love the 80s
particularly superhero comic books in the 80s.
I love Depeche Mode, Devo, Flock of Seagulls. Sure. I love the 80s.
Yeah. What are we going to sing when we go to do some karaoke?
Oh, I'm not inflicting that on people.
Oh, it would be good.
I'm sitting and drinking.
We'll be sure to tape that and put it up as well.
Okay, so Kevin, you have some top 5 picks, do you not?
I do, and apparently my nose is itchy too. All right, so let's start out strong. Okay. Last week I came in and bought my week's worth of comics and then some, And I said, "Oh my God, Troy! I finally read the Dying and the Dead #1 by Hickman and dude who is also pictured there on the cover. Oh my God, this was so good." Now I picked it for my top 5 when it first came out because I really liked the art. It looked like they were telling an interesting story, but I only read about, I don't know, 5 pages or so, and then I thought, okay, I'm sold. I want this. Well, after those 5 pages, the story takes a crazy turn for the crazy in an awesome way, and it's completely not what I thought. I thought this was going to be a grounded in reality type of spy sort of thing. Well, those first pages, that first story section, yeah, sure. There was, crime and shooting people at a wedding, and it was exciting. This is, I don't even know what to say. Have you read the first one?
There is a reason why it sold out in a week.
So good.
It is really good. I still have a couple copies of the second printing of the first issue for those who missed out on it. Dying and the Dead. The first issue was a really thick book.
It seemed like a way bigger than a regular size book.
And the cover price was reflective of that, but it definitely had an enhanced page count. Nice thick paper too, and a nice solid cover, nice thick paper.
Yeah.
So and yes, well worth the time it takes to read this silly thing. So come get that. The Dying and the Dead. I have issue 1 on the shelf. Issue 2 is going to join it tomorrow.
It has the feel of an early to mid '90s Vertigo book. If you want to think Sandman and think Preacher and think
Hellblazer,
later
Swamp
on
Thing.
Hellblazer, not really Swamp Thing. I would say because. Well, you know what? Maybe even a little bit of Swamp Thing because of the characters. Like he is an icon. He is the embodiment of a thing, which I don't want to spoil for you.
Thank you.
So he is the embodiment.
I've
of
been
something.
training him.
The part 2 will spoil everything, but part 1 every week we try to let you just set the stage for you and let you jump off from there. But please. If you're at all interested in those sort of things that I've named, check this out. You want it. Believe me.
Now, next up on Kevin's Hit Parade, and this is no real surprise, but it's not a bad thing, despite the fact that it's not a real surprise. We have The Adventures of the Ninth Doctor.
The Ninth Doctor. Now, okay. The Ninth Doctor, I wasn't the hugest fan of the Ninth Doctor back in the day. However, going back after going all the way to 12, going back and watching some of his, yes, they were cheesy. Yes, they were still finding their feet for the modern Doctor. They just had their anniversary, by the way. 10 years since that first episode aired, which was Rose, I believe, the pilot of the Ninth Doctor. Now, he only stuck around for 1 season or 1 series if you're English, but he really set the tone, and he really glued the old to the new, and we needed a character. We needed a Doctor like him before we could have our David Tennant and Matt Smith. And I'm kind of interested to read more stories.
So at this point now, we have 4 ongoing Doctor Who titles. We have the New Adventures of the Ninth Doctor. We have already seen the series for the 10th and the 11th and the 12th Doctor, as Kevin aforementioned.
Yeah.
So for your Doctor Who fans, come get your Doctor Who fix on.
Oh, I like this art too.
I was showing them the art. I was putting it up while you were yammering.
It's got Captain Dude in Pants, whatever his name is. Come on, what's his name? It's got the dude.
There's no helping.
I can't. Sometimes names drop out of my head and words.
Sometimes his brain just doesn't work.
I have this nominal aphasia. It's a word that I can remember, which means that I can't remember words.
Can you remember these words, Kevin?
If you tell them to me, and then I'll repeat them. Ooh, Guardians of the Galaxy, best story ever! #1. All right, so Tim Seeley's writing this, and it's a Guardians of the Galaxy book, and it's got Thanos on the cover. What, you don't like those things? Skip it. But if you like Tim Seeley or Guardians of the Galaxy or Thanos, yeah, best story ever. It's got it right on the cover. It says best story ever, so I'm excited.
For people who don't know, Tim Seeley is also the author of Revival, and he is currently writing Sundowners for Dark Horse Comics, and he is one of the authors on the Batman Eternal weekly series, and he is the writer of Grayson for DC.
You're saying he's too busy for this book? Because I don't think he's too busy for this book.
No. What I'm saying is, you can't have too much Tim Seeley. That's not a thing. That is not a thing.
All right.
More Tim Seeley, please. Tim Seeley has an interesting grasp of characters and an interesting grasp of plot and bringing the characterization and plotting together. His stories move and they get you engaged in the characters that are in them. You'll find that in Revival. You'll find that in Sundowners. And I'm positive you're going to find it in Guardians of the Galaxy. All things considered, look at who we have. Star-Lord, Rocket Raccoon, Gamora, Drax, and company. Thanos, a very interesting, multifaceted villain, particularly given the development of Thanos from the limited series Thanos Rising. We've had Thanos, God is Listening. We've had the Thanos Annual, which future time-traveling Thanos met past Thanos. There's been a lot of Thanos focus, and certainly the epic event Infinity, just continuing that whole trend. Add Tim Seeley to this mix, I really just, nothing can fail. Nothing can fail.
So we've got, as the artists, we've got Riley Brown on storyboards and Iban Coelho and Jacopo Camagni doing the finishes with Jim Charalampidis. Boy, that's a mouthful. I'm sorry, Jim. We're just going to call him Jim. Good old Jim C. Man, he's the best colorist in this book, and perhaps many others. I'm not sure.
Jim, if you're at the San Diego Comic-Con and you see Kevin and you punch him in his eye,
well, you might say good try. Hey, look, have you seen my last name? Gaussoin. Gaussoin. I understand. People like me with hard last names, we understand each other. And if I was unprepared. So, I'm sorry, Jim. I was unprepared. I didn't practice your name.
I was going to say, well, we always get Bill Sienkiewicz's name right when we talk about it, and that's not an easy name.
Bill Sienkiewicz told me his name back in the 80s, the first time I met him.
And you never forget it.
No, because he was my favorite at the time. Like when he first came on and jumped in on
New Mutants.
New Mutants number 12.
Kevin, number 18.
That's the one I meant. Don't try to confuse me. When he first came in, I honestly, that first issue, I was like, no, you're ruining, because it was Bob
McLeod.
Bob McLeod, who we love.
Yep.
Hi, Bob McLeod. He clearly watches this show. He sits right next to Cullen Bunn and watches every episode. It's weird.
I don't doubt it.
He has to fly from Canada to St. Louis, but he does it because it's worth it.
Because he can.
And who wouldn't want to sit next to Cullen Bunn? He's kind of cuddly.
I want to sit next to Cullen Bunn.
Yeah, he's nice.
I'm not sure if I want to cuddle with the man, but
I ask his wife. I imagine. This is just my imagination. I've only just started imagining this today, not before today. Okay.
Don't believe that.
All right.
So, are you ready to move to the next?
Yeah. Let's go to that one.
Okay. Now, there's no great surprise here that Kevin is all about his Marvels. Kevin is a Marvel zombie, and I'm trying to get him to expand his tastes here. I'm trying to get him to get into some new good things, some different things, and there are a lot.
Like that Wonder Woman, because I kind of want to read some. Yeah, seriously.
I mean, you like David Finch. You like David Finch, and you want to see what Meredith Finch is doing in her writing debut.
You're right.
And Dying in the Dead. You like Jonathan Hickman from the pages of the Avengers from his previous run on Fantastic Four. So you picked up Dying in the Dead and you read it. You were like, oh my goodness! All I needed was 10 quiet minutes to get through this book.
It's funny. It was kind of like buying stuff like that is. I go against the things that I'm apparently just a big liar or something. Not exactly true. I just break my own rules because I think no, I don't want DC and Marvel. I don't renumber things. It makes me angry when you renumber things unless it's a series of miniseries, in which case I say go do it. But when you renumber things, I get angry. But then I saw this was a number 1 on the Dying and the Dead, and I thought, jumping on point. and I become like everyone else.
Wow. This guy. Issue number 4.
Yeah.
Operation Sin.
So okay. Troy.
Yes, sir.
Now, compared with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., talking comics here, which do you like better? Because, these are the two, Marvel TV shows. And so talking strictly of the Marvel TV show comics, which of these do you like better?
Well, okay, you mean comparing S.H.I.E.L.D. to Agent Carter? To answer Kevin's earlier question...
Which do you like better?
Well... Operation Sin gives me Agent Carter, Howard Stark, and this new character, Woodrow McCord, who has not been featured yet in anything cinematic or television. However, the show, Peggy Carter, gave me a very dynamic Peggy Carter in Haley Atwell. It was good to see her move and do her thing, to have not static images but fluid images, and also her acting talent, what she brings to the character. I almost said intensity, and I don't know if intensity is right, but a certain solid, just a
believable humanity.
Yes.
She was very realistic, very believable.
She was very tough, and she was very capable and very independent, but not so tough and capable and independent that you couldn't like her or that she didn't want to like other people. She had a human side. She was, she had friendly relations with her coworkers, even her coworkers that didn't really respect her as in full. But the comic gives me a different and interesting dynamic with Peggy Carter and Howard Stark. And the presentations of Howard Stark, remember too, classically in the comics, Howard Stark... the most important thing about Howard Stark was that he was Tony's father, that he built Stark Enterprises before handing it over to Tony, that he was very much like a Howard Hughes from the World War II Korean War era, and he unfortunately and tragically died, and Tony was, young and without his father. Those were the most important things about Howard Stark. This gives us much more development into the character, and we get to see him young and vital in a way that we hadn't gotten to see him before. So that's what Operation Sin brings. It's like an outgrowth of these World War II characters now into the Cold War, and looking at the sensibilities that the Cold War brings, to the world around them, how they interact in that time period. Very period piece, and I won't say wholly inaccurate, of course. I wasn't alive during most of the Cold War, so I don't know from accuracy. I have to believe what I read in history books and comic books.
True enough. And by the way, for those of you like me who accidentally didn't pick up number 3, hey, Troy's got a bunch of them on the wall right here. Come in right away before they sell out, because now that I'm telling people are going to show up because number 3.
Kevin has a tendency to buy 10 copies of everything. So,
that is a lie. Occasionally I will buy a second cover, but I like to avoid that. I like to just buy whatever cover I like the best.
How do you explain the long box of Amazing Fantasy 15s that you have?
Dude, if I had that, I would live in a much nicer house.
Dude, you've already got 14 rooms. How much nicer do you want?
Oh, no. That's just 14 short boxes. I just call them rooms. My long box, I have way more long boxes, but they're in, drawer boxes, and those are in St. Louis.
Now, you need to bring those things here because I want to see them. We have to interact over your comics. We have to have coffee and talk.
We really do.
So get those things over here.
We should have part 2 at my house. My family's gone. It's spring break, ladies and gentlemen. My family has gone to St. Louis, to the sunny beaches of St. Louis, Missouri.
Well, we could do part 2 at your house, but what if your wife doesn't like me?
I'm saying no one's there. My dog is the only one there right now. Don't try to go steal my comics, because my dog will bite you. Actually, it'll probably pee on you, and you wouldn't want that either.
Yeah, the stain's not coming out easily.
No.
I need both hands for this, because Kevin went crazy on his top number 1 pick for this week. Yeah. So I got to have both hands. Kevin, you're going to have to talk about this.
Okay, so all right. So Marvel's got Star Wars now, and there's not only a new Star Wars film coming out really soon, but we've also got a new Star Wars cartoon, and it is. Can you see that? That's just the blank one. This is a new comic here. Star Wars. Kanan.
The Last Padawan.
The Last Padawan, and Kanan, of course, is a creation of who? Greg Weisman. Friend of the show, Greg Weisman. Hi, Greg. He watches the show probably. No, seriously, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he did. Greg is in fact a friend of the show. He of course co-creator. Kind of rather much uncredited co-creator of Gargoyles, and then of course we love him the best for his work on Spectacular Spider-Man. And if you show him the cover of this one,
I did.
Oh, okay, that's the character Kanan from Star Wars Rebels. That's what I was getting to eventually. Star Wars Rebels is the cartoon that we got here, and I kind of want Troy got a bunch of these. The sketch covers, blank ones.
Yeah,
I kind of want this one because I kind of want to get somebody to
get an autograph or get a sketch on that.
Sketch, and I've got a handful of these over the years, and I haven't got any sketches yet.
Oh,
but I've got some kind of cool ones like gosh. Like examples.
Like you can't think.
Like I can't think. What were good ones from 5 years ago?
Okay, I can't think of the titles themselves, but you know what? I actually got
Civil War.
I didn't get the blank of Civil War, but I did get a blank sketch of Secret Invasion #1.
Secret Invasion, I have that one.
I got a Skrull Captain America on that one. I didn't actually, you know what? I started to say the blank of Infinity. I didn't have the Infinity, but Jimmy Chung at the Baltimore Comic-Con did a sketch for me in my Baltimore Comic-Con hard book. And Kanan White also did a sketch for me in my Balticon hardcover book.
Do they have some blank pages in there for that?
Yes, they do.
Nice.
It was, so they signed their names and gave me little sketches because they're really nice guys. And we were at the All-Star reception, which I'm sure at this year's Baltimore Comic-Con you're actually going to attend.
I might. He might actually talk me into it.
I think I will.
This year's going to be my 31st San Diego Comic-Con in a row. Doesn't matter if it's in a row. That doesn't matter. Anyway, it's going to be my 31st, and I go there every year, and I get that hardcover that they've had for the past, I don't know, teens or 20s anyway. They've given out every year, or not really hardcover, but a harder cover book that is the annual, like the yearbook for that year, and there's a bunch of great art in it. But what they really don't have, at least currently that I recall, is some nice art pages for people to go and give you some sketches right in that book.
Well, maybe they could take that cue from the Baltimore Comic-Con's hardcover yearbook.
Probably take a few cues from Baltimore. I love San Diego. Like I say, I was a committee member back in the day, and would be again sometime in the future when I'm old and gray and living back in San Diego again. I will be back with them
at one of the 3 beach properties that he still owns.
Right. Well, it's so hard to choose.
So that was our top 5, and that was our plus ones.
Yeah.
And Kanan the Last Padawan, Kevin's #1 pick, and I do have multiple variants of that, like I have with all the Star Wars themed books. Star Wars, Darth Vader, Princess Leia, and now Kanan the Last Padawan joining that mix. Now we have 4 Star Wars titles. The last thing I wanted to throw at you before we wrap up part 1 here is that in preparation for DC's Convergence event, they re-released several trade paperbacks. Now, among the trade paperbacks that they re-released, again, for the newer readers who haven't seen this stuff before and don't know anything about it, I'm sure you've heard people talk about things like Crisis on Infinite Earths. Kevin, if you'd be so good.
Oh, I would be so good.
Written by Marv Wolfman and illustrated by George Perez, featuring Dick Giordano on the inking chores, and later Jerry Ordway in the inking chores. They split it. In any event, the Crisis on Infinite Earths was DC Comics' 50th anniversary, and it basically brought the end of the multiverse and the beginning of DC's universe. It was their first big reboot of the company line. In story, the multiverse was threatened and was being destroyed systematically, and the heroes valiantly fought and strove, and 5 Earths were combined into one ongoing universe. In this series, we saw the death of Supergirl, we saw the death of the Flash, we saw the 2 Supermen, the Golden Age Earth 2 Superman and our own modern Earth 1 Superman, coexisting and battling side by side. The Justice League, the Teen Titans, Infinity Incorporated, the Legion of Superheroes. we literally saw Anthro, the first boy, and Commandy, the last boy, through this series. It was incredible. Crisis is available for those of you who weren't around in 1985 reading comics. This is the 12 issues, bell to bell, with a new Alex Ross cover. Its Alex Ross cover is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, and am I wrong? But did they collect this in like a big?
There is an absolute version.
Absolute version of this.
There's an absolute version. There was a deluxe hardcover. There was, of course, the paperback itself. It has had multiple formats. But here was where I'm going. Not only do we have the Crisis on Infinite Earths, but DC collected and is re-released their Crises on Multiple Earths. Crisis on Multiple Earths, volumes 1, 2, and 3. Now, the Crisis on Multiple Earths is a collection of the Earth 1, Earth 2 team-up stories, the JLA and JSA together, the Earth 1 Atom, Earth 2 Atom, Earth 1 Hal Jordan Green Lantern, Earth 2 Alan Scott Green Lantern. I believe Barry Allen's Flash of Two Worlds is actually collected in the Flash Omnibus, so that's not in this series, and that is really the first of the multiple Earth stories that classic Gardner Fox, with Jay and Barry running to save the guy who's fallen and can't get up.
Right.
In any event,
there's a girder involved.
You're interested in the multiverse. You're interested in these earlier stories, the first Crime Syndicate story, for example, and the single issues of these things may be beyond your price range. These trade paperbacks actually take several of those stories and collect them together and make it possible for you to digest a bunch of them all at once.
That's a really nice edition, by the way.
It is.
All glossy. That's the best edition. Now, I had at one point, I think I gave it away, an earlier version of Crisis on Infinite Earths, a collected trade. This is so much nicer. I think I might have to replace mine with this.
I think you should. And you should also get your Crises on Multiple Earths. And you should get the omnibus of the DC 1 million. The 1 million, which collects all of the 1 million stories from... DC did a thing in preparation, I think it was for 0 Hour. We had characters from the 853rd century, and there was a Flash 1 million, Justice League 1 million, Superman 1 million. All of those books are collected here in this big, heavy omnibus that Kevin is straining mightily to hold up. Step up there, because the
look at this.
Yeah, I mean, look at how thick that thing is.
I have kind of little hands, but it's big. This is big. I have a little girly kid hands, but seriously, this is big, and this is a brick.
There are a lot of things that I could say about the 1 million omnibus, but the two words that are important, the only two words that really you should need, are Grant Morrison. All done here. You should be coming to my door. Seriously, DC has reissued a lot of their trade paperback and hardcover collections, making it possible to read these stories, these older stories, and to get some context on what's going on in Convergence. Maybe you've been reading the New 52's Teen Titans and you have no idea who Donna Troy is. Well, come on in and pick up this Teen Titans trade paperback and learn who Donna Troy is and why you should care, because these are really good stories. You might be new to Superman, you might be new to some of the Elseworld stories or some of the Batman stories from before Snyder and Capullo, whatever, etc. They're there and they are coming back out, and we carry them here at Flashback Comics.
Excellent. So Troy, if I were in the within 100 miles of Woodbridge, Virginia. By the way, we're about 15-ish miles south of Washington D.C. here in Woodbridge. By the way,
is that all?
Thereabouts, right?
It might be a little bit more than 15, but yeah, it's not
16,
that bad.
18. It's not. This is ballparking here. Yeah. But anyway, But if you were anywhere around here, this is one of those stores, and this is kind. I don't work here. This is I do the Comics Online podcast, and I just happen to like Troy. Until
I'm likable.
Until he beats me up over things. He won't beat you up. He knows me, and so he feels like he can. Anyway, the important thing is, I come in here, and this guy will help you with finding the wonderful stories that appeal to you personally. He has such an amazing grasp of comics. He's probably one of the most seriously. He is one of the most knowledgeable comics professionals that I have met ever. And I used to work in several comic stores, and I've been doing this comic thing for a long time. I have a terrible memory, as you know, watching this show. Now I have a terrible memory, but seriously, this guy will help you out. Will help you out. Please come in, visit, see Troy, and you'll know what I mean.
Also, if you're not just for comic fans looking for a comic story, if you're a parent and you're a little concerned about the reading content, we could talk about age-appropriate things, and I can help steer you towards something that your younger reader would be interested in, and away from content that you might not be comfortable with. I don't believe in censorship myself personally, but I do believe that every single parent has the right to decide what their child should and should not be exposed to. So if you think that Snyder and Capullo's Batman is too edgy for your child, your son, daughter, what have you, then we can move towards a Batman that's more appropriate for the all ages. There is the animated themed Batman, which I have a 100-page special for right now. There's the Batman 1966, styled after the old Adam West television series. The Batman Beyond universe that was written by Kyle Higgins. There are alternatives. Maybe it's not Batman, maybe your kid's thing isn't superheroes, but you want to get a younger reader started. I will help you find something that you can be comfortable with giving to your kid.
That's important today, because you're not going to get that in every comic store.
Yeah, well,
believe me, I know.
I want the parents to be comfortable bringing their kids in. Comics are a great way to get a reluctant reader started reading, and I believe that, and I certainly want to use that resource and help you to use that resource as well. I also, however, want to say that there is this wonderful book. Hold that up for people, Ken.
Oh.
From the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund. Now, this is an organization, I can't stress how much I believe in the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund. The Comic Book Legal Defense Fund is a nonprofit organization. The sales of their product generate revenue so that they can assist creators and the comic book industry really in a variety of ways. One of their strong points, is a championship against censorship. Self-regulation is one thing. It's one thing to put on a cover that this comic has mature themes, and that allows the reader to beware about what they pick up before they pick it up. On the other hand, an outside third party judging what you should or should not be able to see, well, I'm not necessarily comfortable with that. I will tell you what's in a book. I will show you things and you can make up your own mind, but I don't need someone telling me that this is bad and you don't need to see it. Neil Gaiman has an article in here that I'm very interested in reading. He talks about when he was censored. Neil Gaiman writes some brilliantly intelligent comics. You may be familiar with him from Sandman. You might be familiar with Marvel work like 1602. He's written a lot of stuff. He was the succeeding author on the Miracle Man series to Alan Moore.
Yeah.
He's put a lot of stuff out there. He also writes children's books. He is a novelist as well as a comic writer.
Sure. And as you might know, I named my daughter after one of his characters, Coraline.
He's a heck of a nice guy. I had the opportunity to meet him once at a Dallas Fantasy Fair, and he was a wonderful guy. Enjoyed, it was a brief conversation, maybe 15 minutes at best. I doubt he'd remember it, but he was striking enough that even to this day, that was 1991. This is 2015. I remember the conversation with Neil Gaiman. It's not the sort of thing you forget.
Yeah.
In any event, support the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund. Come in and pick this thing up. I will talk to you about it. I'll be happy to talk to you about it.
Is there a cost on this?
Actually, I don't believe there is. And so pick one of these things up and check it out. You might want to know about the history of the Comics Code. You might want to read the Neil Gaiman article. You might want to know any number of things that they present in this. So check it out, cover to cover. It's bound to be a very good read. Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, I see them at conventions, Wizard World, Baltimore Comic Con, etc. And I usually make it a point to stop by their table, buy a T-shirt, buy a hardcover, buy a grab bag, anything to support this. I believe in an institution that helps support the comic book creators. As a comic book fan, I benefit when these creators can survive doing what they do. When they write, when they draw ink, color, whatever. So anything that helps this industry thrive and grow.
And they don't get knocked out of business by busybodies trying to get them censored.
Exactly. Sometime we'll have to talk about Friendly Frank's. I'd be interested to know where you were when the poor manager at Friendly Frank's got arrested back in 1987, I believe it was.
Well, I was fairly young, but yeah, we should talk about that on a future episode. We definitely need to talk about different. Yeah, maybe part two today.
Yeah,
we'll get into that. Part 2, we're gonna go. There'll be swears, by the way. We keep part 1 family friendly. Part 2, scroll down and you'll get the link. ComicsOnline.blip.tv. We'll get you to the channel, and then just check out the episode that matches the numbers on this episode, which is by the way, hello again and welcome to the Comics Online podcast, season 15, episode 27. 27. Man, we're having a good time this year.
Yeah, really.
I'm so happy to be with Troy. The podcast, used to be always audio podcast for years, right? Since 2008, and then I came here to St. Louis, and my co-host dropped off. He had too much stuff to do.
You're in Woodbridge.
Son of a crap. Came here from St. Louis is what I meant to say. That's what I was getting. I came to the D.C. area from St. Louis, and I just lost Dune. He was too busy doing other stuff to continue with Comics Online podcast, and frankly, I was very brokenhearted about the whole thing. And then I met Troy. Troy is the guy who saved my podcasting life. So thank you for that as well.
Happy to do it.
And this has become this is tell your friends, because this is only going to get better. We're gonna amp it up a little bit. We've got some ideas and
big ideas,
but we need your help,
and we want to hear from you. So if you're watching this and you want to have a conversation with me, certainly reach out to me on Facebook. You can private message me. Feel free to leave us some feedback on the Flashback Comics page.
Please.
My email, sentinel1966@gmail.com. It's no secret. It's on my business card. But you can send me an email, and I'll be happy to respond to you. It may take me a day or two to get back to you, but I do respond to people. So don't feel like it's going into a black hole. Just know that I get swamped with emails sometimes.
Anything that has to do with comics specific things, like you're looking to buy comics or you have some questions about comics, use that one. If you want to talk about the show itself, you got some feedback, you want to say, you know what, you guys need to change this, or I really love this, please keep doing it. Email podcast@comicsonline.com. You'll get both of us as well as the other folks on the team.
And if you're just afraid of hurting Kevin's feelings because he's very, very sensitive, you can go ahead and just email it to me, and I'll break it to him gently.
You can flame me, troll me, whatever, and I'll honestly just be happy that anybody's emailed because. We used to have so many people, and then lately, we were in a bit of a dip, and we're just now coming out of it. So thank you, those of you who have stuck around in the transition to the video version. The audio version will return, by the way, but the video version of the show is just getting better and better, and it's thanks to you who are listening and watching, or both, right now.
Now, we appreciate our viewers and our listeners, but right now, we need to be eating dinner.
Are you hungry?
I am ravenous.
I'm not even hungry. I took my medicine. I'm all little.
This guy. I have not taken my medicine because I don't have to take medicine. But what I do have to do is tell our viewers and our listeners that they need to like us on Facebook,
please
follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to us on YouTube.
Flashback C&G for most of those on the Flashback side, and of course Comics Online everywhere. We're everywhere.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Kevin, you got a last word?
Excelsior? See you next week.
When Stan Lee punches you in the face, don't say I didn't warn you.
April Fools, I'm not saying Excelsior. I'm April Fools. I'm not really Stan Lee. I'm not. Really? Look. You can tell it. I've got darker hair than... Okay, bye.
From leaping tall buildings to going off like gamma bombs. Switch your internet browser to ComicsOnline.com.